We have the first stream of the new year, and it is also a tournament set. It's between Juicy45 and Hans77. My New Year's resolution is to play, actually, as little Age of Empires as possible this year, and focus mainly on casting the games of other people. I think it's more satisfying. I think I enjoy it a little bit more, but most importantly is it's just much more worth watching them. I think these guys are, in general, much better than I am. They're more entertaining, and I have a bunch of leagues planned out throughout the year. The goal is to have a league basically going in every quarter of this year, all 4 of them, to have 4 different seasons in the league. We're on the first season now, which was a generic map contest. We ended up with 4 divisions, so each of the divisions did end up being eligible for prize money. Not a lot for Cuprum, which is where we're at right now, but these guys are still 1300s, I would say. This particular matchup, we've got Juicy45 and Hans77 here, coming in at estimated tournament ELO of 1362 and 1278.5. But Juicy hasn't been doing much age lately. His win rate for the past 50 games has been quite low, so he's gotten a big ELO penalty from that, from the seeding. He's just not been feeling it, but he's excited for the league, and we're really excited to see him play in the league. We really appreciate him signing up for it, and hopefully some of the variety with the custom maps that we've got here will make it well worth his while. And then Hans77, who's a friend of mine, I've known him for years. He played in the King of Ireland tournament. I messaged him and told him about this, and he was like, I haven't even heard of this. I couldn't believe it. So he came back too. So both of these guys actually played in the King of Ireland tournament, and those maps were even crazier than these ones, if you can believe that. So here we go. The first map of their set is Hans77, I believe, is from Germany, actually, and Juicy is from the USA. Oh my goodness. They're building their town centers right next to each other. So that might be something to work on for the map itself. Maybe for a 1v1 we can do a better job of spreading the players out. But when the town centers are closer like this, the game is going to be more action-packed, I think. So there's definitely merit to having the town centers this close. You start with a villager on the shoreline, although I don't think Juicy realized that. Or Juicy is actually just not docking immediately. Also high-tech if you cast this. Oh, thanks, Juicy. Games right next to each other. Yeah, Warlion saying the same thing happened in his game. So that is something to be aware of. There is room back here to boom up. But maybe the starting locations for these town centers are simply too close together. We got time, I think, for one set today. Or for now, I should say. I might do another cast later. Juicy coming in and getting the cows. He's going to find that Hans77 has built a town center here. So if we look at this from Juicy's point of view, yeah, he's scouted Hans. Does Hans know that Juicy is there? No. He does not know where Juicy is yet, although he could probably see this range indicator, I think. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think so. So Juicy has not docked yet. He's the Incas. He has built 2 houses, so he's not going to need to build any more houses for a while. What is Hans doing? Is he coming around here looking for... Oh, he's laming. He's laming the deer. Oh, no. Lamer. There are no boars to steal. There are no boars on Gichigume. Gichigume is, of course, inspired by Lake Superior. You can see that we've got this choppy lake with very uneven edges. There's lots of gold here. It's 1,500 gold in each of these, and 700 stone in each of these tiles. So there's a lot of gold around the edge of the lake. Supposed to sort of represent rich mining opportunities in the mountains of Wisconsin and Canada on the northern side of the lake. But I don't know that water is necessarily too powerful on Gichigume because, I mean, there's not a lot of space here for land, right? You've got about 40% of the map is just empty space that you can't build on. So what do we got here? We've got Juicy already saying, get out of here. Hans has sent another villager. So now we're going to have a villager fight. Oh, can Juicy get this 1 weak villager? Can he do it? I think Hans is going to get away. Juicy, pull back before you run into the town center. Okay, he pulls back. Hans saves the villager. Juicy with the hill advantage. Alright, he's just going to withdraw. So we're already seeing some laming action from the players. Now let me know if you guys can't hear the game sounds at all. The sound settings are okay. Juicy wants these deer. He's going to take the deer. What's left of them? Deer do rot. There's some ibex up here, which Juicy could take. He is docking now. Okay. And there's a deep fish here. Each of these deep fish only have 150 on them, so there's not a ton of fish necessarily, but I would say that the fish is inefficient. There isn't as much fish here. And the reason that this is done... Alright, Warlion can't hear the game sounds. Let me see if I can turn on the volume mixer here and turn up capture age. Okay, it's at 0, that's why. So we'll turn that up. The reason that this is done is so that you can have a large lake, but not have too much fish. So let me know if that is too much. Actually, I'll put on the headphones. The headphones give me a headache, so I don't wear them all the time. Yeah, okay, I think that's much better. So I don't really need to hear the game sounds. I'm not reacting to stuff. I'm not playing. Okay, so Juicy is heavily reliant on these ibex. I think Juicy wants to go up quickly, but I don't know if he's going to manage it. What's this right here? He's built a random house here. I'm actually not sure why he has built that there. Maybe for scouting information. Oh, now he is laming Hans. He's taking a little bit of gold first, I guess. Hans is building a mill back here. I think there might be a shorefish that he's interested in. Oh no, maybe it's the ibex. There are occasional shorefishes in these ponds here. I know a guy from Wisconsin, from our guild. His name is T-Bomber, and he told me all about Wisconsin and said that it had ponds with lots of fish. So I made a bunch of little ponds here when I created the map. What do we got? We got Juicy chasing Hans's docking villager. Does he have a hill advantage? It looks like he did. Now he's gonna... What's he doing? Juicy playing super aggressively. He's got to withdraw. Does Hans not have loom? No, he does. They both have loom. Let's see. How are their resources looking? Neither player has queued up Feudal Age, so what you see is what you got, essentially. Hans with a lot more fishing ships. Look at this. He's got 6 fishing ships to Juicy's 2 fishing ships. So I don't think Juicy really plans to... Hans is apparently taking fish over here for some reason. I don't think Juicy plans to really go water. I think he's content to lose water and just pressure Hans by land. So I'm not sure what advantage... I mean, Hans will get some value out of getting Feudal Age first and just making 1 fire ship and sinking these fishing ships. But... having only 3 fishing ships tells me that, well, okay, Juicy's making another one. Maybe Juicy intends to contest water, and he's just behind Hans. He's walling this off, which is smart. This is something that I did not do when I played this match. Not this match, but this map in the first round of the league. Is I should have just completely walled off my side, but I did not do that. Kind of walled into the corner. Juicy taking stone. Uh-oh. Juicy, no! He's going to tower rush. Alright, he's clicked up slightly before Hans. Looks like he's 1 villager behind. Hans with a lot more fishing ships, so he must have... Yeah, Hans has a lot more idle TC time. So Juicy with a cleaner Dark Age than Hans had. Looks like Juicy got the better of the laming situation. He's got a mill up here. He's taken some of these fish and these ibex. So Juicy's people have been eating better in the Dark Age, and it shows because he's only one villager behind, despite having a little more than half the number of fishing ships. So we got these geese going into the water, as geese do. And Juicy's going to wall this up too. I think that it's very important to wall on this map. It's not hard to wall. Alright, second dock, so Juicy wants to fight water. Although Juicy has a bunch of stone, it's almost like he doesn't know what he wants to do exactly. He took some stone with like 6 villagers, and I thought, okay, Juicy's tower rushing. But now he's going on to gold, so I'm not sure what it is going to be. I think he's going to go fire ships. He's going to make a fire ship from each one of these docks, is my prediction. Where is it? His opponent is up at the same time. So Hans is Malians. I think Incas are pretty good against Malians, actually. Okay, so Hans is building a tower here on Juicy's town center. He's, unfortunately for Hans, he's built it just inside of the town center range, so the tower is going to be very unproductive. It is going to get destroyed. It's probably not worth his time to repair. Juicy has an advantage in this regard. So he's going to build another one here. This one might be too close as well. So I'm not really sure where Hans is going on this one. Okay, so we do have a water battle. Hans has added a second dock as well. Juicy has... Oops. Juicy has 2 fire galleys out. Hans only has 1. So Hans is going to have to garrison these docks and build up his fire galley numbers. But unfortunately, that means that Juicy's fire galleys will be able to run around and sink fishing ships if he thinks about it. And yeah, he is coming around. Demolition raft under construction by Hans. Okay, we got... Somebody's laughing about something. Yeah, this tower is still rangeable by Juicy's town center. That's very unfortunate for Hans. Juicy trying to get this house up, but he doesn't really need to. Tower's about to go down. I guess you could make the argument that Hans has idled a lot of Juicy's economy. He says, I was so sure it was outside the range. Yeah, Hans has not turned on these lines. He needs to configure the range indicator so that he knows where to build his towers. I don't know. Tower rushing the Incas is kind of not maybe the best plan anyway. But I'm not sure why he did that. Could have just been one of those things where he's like, I see town center, I build tower on town center. But you know, the towers I wasn't a fan of because they didn't really deny many resources. Like maybe if Juicy had built his wood line here, or like he built a tower here and he was using the tower to prevent walling from behind, and then he was trying to get through the walls so he could build another tower onto the wood line, that maybe would have made sense to spend the stone resources on that. But just building it here when Juicy can like build farmers behind the town center and has a mill somewhere and can take fish. I guess he doesn't technically know that Juicy has a mill, but Juicy not really contesting water. It seems like Hans is investing way more in water. Yeah, he's got 4 more fire galleys queued up after this. And Juicy's only making 1 more. So Juicy's just going to cut his losses, I think. And try to get up to Castle Age and not really going to care about water too much. I think water is very important on this map, unfortunately. It seems more important than I intended anyway. When I was making the map, I was like, oh, it's not going to be that important. There's not as much... You know, there's not as much fish in these, but it's still, I guess, a lot of the map to control. But that is one thing that's very easy to adjust, is to just decrease the amount of food in the perch slightly. Juicy looks like he could use a lumber camp refresh. He is slowly accumulating the resources to get Castle Age, but Hans with the free fish boom. Hans is already on his way up to the Castle Age. I wonder if he has not really refreshed many of his docks yet. He's got long distance fishermen out here apparently. Oh no, it's just a scout, it's just sitting there. Alright. Juicy's docks are burning. It's good food income if you win the sea. Originally, the way that the map was planned was it was planned that ships would slowly take damage over time. Kind of like real life Lake Superior. A lot of people don't actually realize like how they're probably among the most dangerous bodies of water. I mean, I'm sure that there's like Cape Horn, or there's some more dangerous body of water out there than the Great Lakes, but you consider all of the states in the Northeast and Midwest of the United States that trade and have like big old lake boats. There's a lot of representation, like Lake Superior, and in this map it's got all the different. Oh, Juicy's scouting here with the Eagle. It's got all these shipwrecks along the edge. Lake Superior literally has thousands of shipwrecks just littering the bottom of that lake. Juicy's got 30 more seconds to the Castle Age. Hans is up right now, but the Great Lakes are essentially inland seas. They have just the right like size and depth that the storm surge and the swell on the Great Lakes is just insane. And these lakes have been known to just break ships in half, like big old steel tubs, just breaking them in half. We got a castle drop from Hans. This is unfortunate. Juicy even has a tower here, and he doesn't care. I guess the tower has no range upgrades. Juicy gonna come in with some eagles, and he's gonna rush a tower down to try and deny this castle. Is the castle gonna go up? But it is very, very dangerous, especially when the weather is bad, like in November through, I would say, late January in the Great Lakes. You don't want to be boating on the Great Lakes at that time. Alright, so the castle has gone up. Juicy's kind of got to abandon all of these farms, which hurts. He's got a choice. He can build another town center, or he could build, like, he could make rams and garrison villagers in this town center. But actually, that would be kind of a bad idea because there are Gabetos here, and the Gabetos can just camp the base of the castle here and attack the rams if they try to attack the base of the castle. So I think Juicy is making the better choice, and he's building another town center out here. He also needs to refresh his mining camp. These villagers are long distance mining some gold here. He really wants to go into Castle Age military, which is good. But I think Juicy basically is just treating this as, I'm just going to abandon this town center. This is my replacement town center. And he's going to do... he has nothing on food right now. That really hurts, actually. Oh. Considering that Juicy has no fish, he has to delete all of these farms and relocate his farming economy out here. Okay, he is refreshing his mining camp now. What's Hans doing? Hans is basically just building outposts and town centers back here. He's scouting this area. He's refreshing his dock so that he can take a few more fish in this area. Castle is working on this town center first. It won't take it long to destroy this watchtower. And what is Juicy's... Alright, Juicy is going to go into archers. He sees the Gabetos and he decides crossbowmen are the way. I think short term, I think that is smart. A lot of people really like Gabetos. I think they're pretty effective. But Hans is really not committing to the Gabeto. He's built one Gabeto, and he's keeping it garrisoned in the castle. Maybe this is a mind game sort of thing where he wants to trick Juicy into thinking that this massive Gabeto rush is incoming as soon as the town center goes down. Okay, he has built another Gabeto. I see two in the castle now. So maybe he wants Juicy to, like... Yeah, Juicy has got all these crossbowmen queued up. And he is getting ready for the Gabetos to run into his economy, while Hans is teching into man-at-arms instead. So Hans is... Oh, okay. Well, I can adjust that. Thank you. Hopefully that helps a bit. Okay, so we got two Gabetos, and we got 3 crossbowmen and a scorpion here. Okay. Another range so that Juicy can make these crossbowmen faster. Now, Malian longswords, which Hans is teching into, have extra pierce armor. That's their whole thing. So they could actually be significantly more effective against crossbows than ordinary longswords. So, I don't know. Juicy is expecting Gabetos, which I think are easier to kill and take down than longswords. Let's check. What's the pierce armor on these Gabeto? Come here. Tell me your pierce armor. If I could click on them. Here we go. I can't tell. Maybe if I hover over this? Whatever. I think the longswords have more pierce armor. Chat can correct me if I'm wrong. So Hans has built 3 Gabetos. You know what would be smart is if these Gabetos like ran around and were a nuisance somewhere. Maybe there's a... Okay, he's doing it now. I just thought, you know, you got some Gabetos. Go find a gold mine somewhere. And you know that the coast is pretty safe. Juicy having to wall off like this. You know what I might do on this map? Something that could work out quite well, actually, is if there were a line of, like, unbuildable terrain on this edge of the map. So that you can't wall off like this. What do you guys think about that? If you couldn't wall to this specific edge of the map, would that be good for this map or bad? And why? Let me know what you think. So we're always looking for ways to improve. I don't necessarily think we're going to change during Season 1. But the whole point of the league is not to, like, hold up and show maps and be like, oh yeah, you know, we built this map for this one thing for your entertainment value. The whole point of the league is to introduce people to, we've got all these different maps here that we want you to become familiar with and potentially try in other applications. Because I think a reason why you don't see more custom map play in Age of Empires is because that trust is not there. People are not sure that maps work in different situations or have a variety of strategies. Maybe some tournament like Holy Cup or a desert tournament has a specific theme, and you know that the maps are built around it, but you may not necessarily know that you can play on those maps with your friends as well, and they'll work for whatever you want to do. So if there's some way of making the map better, I guess what I'm saying is that we're not just going to use it for this and then forget about it. It's something that we want to know. Okay, Juicy coming in with a crossbow raid. Hans has a siege workshop here with a mangonel in it. That's some pretty smart plays here. If this were Tech Chariot, I would be building the siege workshop right now. Juicy seeing the mangonel, and he's playing with fire here. I would not go for that mangonel. Okay, Hans is going to wall that off there. So Juicy's crossbows, they can't really get in and do very much damage. Hans is on his way up to the Imperial Age. Juicy is out of gold at that mine. There's some more gold over here which Juicy could take. Gabetos start with 0 pierce armor. I figured. I don't know what longswords start with. Melian Barracks units have +2 pierce armor in the Castle Age for free. So you figure Melians basically have double the pierce armor. Let's see, what's the attack output? I think it's like 7 for crossbows. Yeah, with Bodkin. So you figure ordinarily the crossbows are dealing 5 damage per hit, but now they're dealing 3 damage per hit. So they're dealing slightly more than half, which is significant in my view. So what's Juicy waiting for? I think he's waiting for Imp as well. And he did click it. He's about 2 minutes behind Hans. Probably owing to the fact that Hans took him off of water and took him off of a bunch of farms with this castle drop. Okay, so now Hans is just gonna... He's got knights here. So what's the plan? Farimba cavalry from Hans? It seems like Hans is just making everything. I think Hans has a much better civilization for Juicy, or than Juicy on this map. I'm not sure why Juicy chose Incas, but think we can assume that Juicy was not able to execute whatever reason it was that Juicy chose Incas. I don't think he was able to execute his plan. So he's building this castle here. Hans has just gotten up, though, so it's never a good feeling to be building your castle within trebuchet range of another castle, and then your opponent gets up to Imperial Age. He's going to finish the castle, and Hans is not making any trebuchets yet. Probably because Hans doesn't actually know about that castle. That would be my assumption. I could be wrong. Let's see. Okay, Hans knows about it now. He just discovered it. He happened to queue a treb before. It wasn't that urgent because he didn't know about the castle. And now he queues another trebuchet, so he's planning to tear this castle down. Juicy putting up a monastery here so he can pluck this relic. I think monk siege pushes could work really well on this map, actually, if you happen to lose water. But you just have to be careful to make sure that you wall stuff off and your economy can't get raided. I think that's the big thing, is to have that knowledge of the map. Alright, Juicy hitting Imp. Is he going to queue trebs? He is going to queue trebs, so he's going to fight this. He's going to do his best to fight it, or at least get trebuchets out while he can. Hans has another castle going up. It's got a 30 villager lead. Juicy can actually come forward and kill a lot of these villagers, although there are cavaliers coming. These cavaliers do not have the bonus pierce armor, although they don't really need it. They've got enough pierce armor of their own. Plate barding is coming in. This castle's going to go down. Juicy needs to tech into Pointy Boys, and he's working on it. But he's just broke. Doesn't have any resources. He's been trying to keep up with Hans all game. Hans has been messing with Juicy. Took him off of water. Took him off of farms for a while with that castle drop. I think Hans is going to win this game, and I think the reason, and Juicy calling the GG. I think Juicy needed to decide. Juicy needed to decide early on, I am going to commit to water, and I'm going to win water, and I'm going to have all of this space and all of this food. Or he needed to decide, you know what, screw it. I'm going to build my 3 fishing ships. I'm not going to spend any resources on fire galleys. I'm going to get up to the castle age, and I'm going to drop this castle here first. But Juicy didn't do that, and I think that's what cost him the game. He had a much better Dark Age than Hans did, but I think he did not. He committed a little bit to water. He committed enough to water to where he couldn't fast castle, but not so much to where he could win water. And I think that's what did him in this case. But good game, good game, good game, good game. Longswords start with +1 pierce. They have full blacksmith tech, so it's +4. So they have +7 total in Castle Age. Okay, so let's move on to the next game. The first one goes to Hans, who is red. Let's go over here to watch. And the next map is Comet. So Comet was made by BP Dredge, and it's kind of predictable where your opponent's going to be. But guess what? It looks like a comet, and that's fun. But I guess you could start more over toward the head of the comet, or you could start more toward the tail of the comet. So there is some randomness in that regard. Like I've seen the players kind of start here and here. So, but these ones happen to be starting directly across from each other. And Hans coming forward. I think he wants to lame Juicy again. Juicy exploring with a goose. I think this map is good for laming, because you have a pretty good idea of where your opponent's going to be, and he's going to start pretty close to you. Juicy has some geese right here. he needs to find. Let's see if Hans is... And Hans has some geese here, which he also needs to find, but I think he found Juicy's geese instead. Juicy building a forward lumber camp. I'm not sure how I feel about this lumber camp. I would rather that he built it right here. Is Hans going to mess with him? No, he's not. He's going to keep scouting. Hans's lumber camp is forward too. I guess on this map, you really kind of have to build forward lumber camps. Let's take a look at their civilizations. Hans is the Japanese. I think they're a fantastic choice for this map. Lots of water, lots of opportunities for towers and galleys, and so if you've got forward wood lines and your opponent does too, then tower rushes are going to be pretty powerful, right? So you need a civ that's good with tower rushes and good with water, and well, Japanese are one of those civs. Koreans could be another example. Juicy with Bulgarians, which is very interesting to me. I'm not exactly sure. Juicy's probably looking at it the same way, but he's looking at it more from a long game perspective, like Kreposts. So the question is, you know, is Juicy going to do something with Man-at-Arms or something like that first to buy himself some breathing room, or is he just going to go straight FC into Kreposts? Kreposts could be pretty good for this map in general. You could build them on this mangrove shallow terrain out here and use them to secure all these other resources too, because let's face it, buildings are very good against ships, and ships would be quite useful in wrestling control of these bonus resources back here, of which there are many. So let's take a look at the villager count here on wood. I'm counting 5 villagers for Hans, which makes sense. It's gonna build a dock. Yeah, you can build a dock on this. You can totally dock on this map. Juicy with 4 on wood. What's he doing? Oh, okay. Juicy's going to go mill. He is not docking. That makes sense. He's only got 4 on wood. He's not docking. Juicy, no, not like this. Okay, Juicy pulling the villager back. Okay, he's gotta send the village. Oh, he's gonna bring this boar in. What? Boar is being obstinate though. Yeah, he's got to be very careful. Boar will go through unloomed villagers like tissue paper. Uh-oh, though, this is not the most efficient thing. All right, he's gonna get that boar in. That's the most important thing. Hans is okay. He did dock. I guess he docked out here, but you should be able to dock this as well. This actually might be a more efficient dock, though, when you think about it, because the deep fish are out here. So there's less of a distance to travel. So both players with about 15 to 20 seconds of town center idle time. Hans building a barracks, so we might see some kind of Japanese lightning man-at-arms. I'm not sure. So barracks goes up. Nothing on any gold yet. Okay, Hans bringing in this boar meat. Here it comes. He's got a ton of villagers under his town center. Okay, they are gonna down that boar, and he's still got his 5 on wood. I think. Is he building any fishing ships? Okay, he is building them now. And Juicy's got this barracks up. All right, Juicy is on his way up to the feudal age with Bulgarians. So, pretty fast. 21 pop up to the feudal age. So this tells me that Juicy's got the 1 villager going out here on gold. He's going to bring it back. He'll presumably be queuing militia at any time. Yeah, there it is. And this is Bulgarian. This is a Bulgarian lightning man-at-arms, if you will. Bulgarians, of course, get the man-at-arms upgrade for free. So Juicy doesn't have to come back to this gold, but he's still going back there anyway, so maybe he's going to go man-at-arms into archers as Bulgarians, and he's just going to take advantage. He picked Bulgarians because he wants to take advantage of the free man-at-arms upgrade. Juicy, of course, has scouted this barracks, and Hans not liking Juicy's scout hanging around. Look at this. He's going to wall a little bit more. Sent 2 villagers to do it, so he's got 2 militia in here, so Hans might be thinking like a 2 militia drush. He's on 25 pop. He just got housed. He's built another, and it forced him to go up to the feudal age, I think. He's got another lumber camp over here. Okay, so here come the man-at-arms from Juicy. And what's the plan? So Hans needs to wall this off, but Juicy's scout is here. Oh, he slips in. He slips in, and this is going to do some pretty big disruption to Juicy's, or to Hans's economy here. He actually deletes the lumber camp. Wow, so that he can save the villagers. That hurts. One villager goes down, and Juicy's man-at-arms are on the prowl. He has to wall this in. The man-at-arms upgrade is coming in for the Japanese too, but the damage has been done. I would say that that was well justified. Like, Juicy could lose all these for free right now, and this scout, and it would still have been worth it. Taking a villager out like that and destroying a lumber camp. Okay, archery range for Hans. Juicy trying to get in on this gold. Hans does have fishing economy, though. He's got 4 fishing ships there. Juicy is not docking at all. He's just taking the shore fish. So he's got 4 on gold, so there should be an archery range somewhere. I would assume. Unless Juicy is doing some kind of weird fast castle builds. Okay, he's reacting to Hans's man-at-arms. I would expect these man-at-arms to come and help out at home. Yeah, he needs these faster attacking man-at-arms here protecting his economy. But maybe he's desperate to get damage in on Juicy. And Juicy dancing with the scout in front of the man-at-arms. And this villager's going to go down. There's another villager down to these man-at-arms. This is a disaster for Hans. Juicy coming prepared. Okay, Juicy's just making more man-at-arms. There's going to be a fight here. He's going to kill 2 Japanese man-at-arms at the cost of 2 or 3 of his own, and he's got more in queue. So Juicy's just going to keep making man-at-arms. That's Juicy's plan. Just endless man-at-arms. And there's an opportunity for Juicy to attack this dock. I don't know if he's going to hang out here. What does Hans do? Hans needs archers, I think. But he hasn't been on gold for a while. He's going back to gold now. He sent a bunch to gold. This is an archer number of gold right here. This is like an amount on gold that could sustain archers from 2 ranges. But Hans calls the GG. So Juicy getting a game in here against Hans, picking up a win. He came prepared with man-at-arms. He picked a civ. He knew what he was doing. I think Hans had a good civ. I actually think he had a better civ. I think he had a good strategy, but Juicy's strategy was faster, and I think Hans was caught unprepared by it. I think Hans could have easily been walled up by the time that Juicy got here. Maybe not easily, but because this is actually technically this is all. But maybe he could have walled to the edge of the map here or something. Hey, Cry, welcome. I feel as though Hans could have walled to mitigate the damage, but well played nonetheless. So now we're tied. Let's see who takes the final game. So the final map is Whirlpool Lake. This map was made by Jasuni. The map before was Comet by BP Dredge, but this one was made by Jasuni. And we've got a Byzantines mirror matchup. Let's go. Best civ in the game. I'm curious to see what they think of Byzantines on this map. Like, what do you see in Byzantines on this map? I guess maybe fire ships. There's a lot of fish here in this whirlpool. There's a couple of alligators, or not alligators actually, they are crocodiles, and they are guarding these relics. I don't really know why you need... I guess, theoretically, maybe somebody could dock this, although I think the fish are actually too close. I don't think you can dock this. So I'm not really sure what the crocodiles are guarding. They won't attack monks. But what makes this interesting is that you've got like this channel of water that leads to the player town centers. So in theory, somebody could build a bunch of ships and just come and camp your town center with them. What do we got? We've got Juicy pushing some deer in, it looks like, or a deer. And what is Hans doing? Hans is probably pushing deer as well. Yeah, he's got a deer under his town center. So, I don't know. It'll probably be fast fires from both. Now, in order to help protect from getting overrun with Navy under your town center, we have this sea tower here. Sea towers are a little bit weaker than traditional watchtowers, but they deal a ton of extra damage to ships. Like, these sea towers just rip through ships. So, probably nobody in the feudal age is going to get overrun by ships. You'd have to really screw up to get overrun by ships in the feudal age. But Castle Age, and especially Imperial Age, it could happen. What I would do is I would actually build a gate in here. Like a stone gate with some stone walls, just to keep people from rushing in here with a bunch of demolition ships. Okay, so Juicy coming out looking for Hans's town. Is he going to find this water buffalo? Nope, misses it. There's a bunch of scattered stone, but they don't have very much. It's just 100. It's just 100. We played it when it was normal stone, but it was just a ton of stone. It was too much stone, so we tested that out. Interesting, Hans was taking that stone. He took one stone. So Juicy running away. Is he going to try to get the hill advantage? Nope, still running. Okay, Hans gives up. Builds a house, and he's probably going to dock, like, right here. Yep, there it is. So he's going to build a dock, and he's going to fish. What is Juicy doing? No fish. Wait. We got a villager coming forward. So Juicy going to build a more conservative dock. He's going to build that dock kind of as part of a wall to his sea tower. So he doesn't want Hans getting in here and causing trouble. So this is not an economic dock. This is a I want to surprise you, or I want to sink your fish kind of dock. Because if this were an economic dock, if Juicy wanted to take fish, he would have built that dock closer to the fish. He wouldn't have built it so far away. Hans has walled his villager in here for protection. He's afraid of Juicy's scout on the prowl. So we'll see. We'll see what Juicy ends up doing. He doesn't have a lot of food. He is keeping his town center working. Hans is doing the same. Both these guys are, you know, my level, 1300s. So they're going to have some town center idle time in the feudal age. It's just how it goes. Hans. Has Hans not gotten loom? No, he hasn't gotten loom. Okay, that's why he's so paranoid. And Juicy waiting here with the scout cavalry, hoping that Hans will make a mistake, but he's not going to make a mistake. Hans is getting loom now so that he can feel better about sending his village. Oh no, okay, Juicy is going to fish a little bit, looks like. He's built one fishing ship. Maybe it's just a scout. Maybe he built that just as a scout. He's looking to see what Hans is doing. Hans is on his way up to the feudal age. Juicy still making villagers. He's long distancing these deer. Let me know if the stream feels a little jittery, you guys. It feels a little bit jittery to cast. I might not have the resources to run Restream and OBS and all these other things simultaneously. I might not be able to stream this to Twitter as I had originally hoped. So I might just have to do it to YouTube, but that's where everybody watches from anyway. Okay, we got a water buffalo here. Juicy. Alright, he's just barely makes it, but he does click up. He's built 2 fish. Don't think he's serious about winning water. But Hans is. Hans is building another dock here. So we can see that Hans wants wants what? Actually, you know what? Maybe Juicy built these just so that he could like sail a fishing ship past Hans and make Hans believe that Juicy was on water. So Juicy's going to be up to the feudal age in about a minute. No fire galleys from Hans yet. Is Hans? He's not even on gold. Oh wait, here he is. Okay. It does look a bit choppy. Oh, all right. See, thank you. That's good feedback. Thank you, Warline. I appreciate that. So I will have to adjust that. See what I can do about. Yeah, Hans is going to be pretty disappointed though when he sees that there's only 2 fish here, and he's got his scout here. Is he even making the fire galleys? He is. He's making 2 fire galleys. Probably only needs 1. He does not, as far as I know, he does not know where Juicy's dock is. No, actually he does. He scouted it. He knows where the dock is. I take it back. So the fire galley is coming. Juicy could theoretically pull... I don't know. He's not going to bother with it. He's not going to bother with it. What do we got down here? Got a slight villager fight. Scout picks a fight with some of these villagers and regrets it. Juicy is paying attention. The villagers fight back and the scout is forced to retreat. Hans is continually building more fishing ships. Hans is doing well on resources. He's going to be Castle Age before Juicy. He has more fish working. There's a lot of water maps for Alchemy League. And maybe that was something that we should have tried to plan out better. There are a lot more water maps than my comfort. I think most of the maps you can make fishing ships on. Ouch. Oh, interesting. Juicy has built another dock back here. So maybe Juicy plans to surprise Hans. Plans to delete this palisade wall and come out and fight Hans. Okay, so Hans can't really push in right now. Scores are similar. You know, I wonder, for this map, do you pick Malay and you like make fish traps all in here? That could be pretty fun. Look at all these fire ships. Is Hans making more? Tell me he's at least not making any more. Okay, he is not making more. He's got 4, and that's more than enough. He's brought this guy back here for repairs, so he's going to repair it. Juicy's not pushing out. He's not fishing anymore. And Hans has not clicked up to the Castle Age yet. I'd like to see Juicy... Oh, there we go. Okay, there's the mill on the berries. He should take 4 of these gold miners. Actually, he should really take all the gold miners and just put them on berries. He doesn't need this many on gold if he's not planning on contesting water. Okay, Juicy comes out with a couple of fishing ships. Or fire ships, sorry. And he's going to try to take a fight underneath his sea tower. The sea tower gives him... Oh! He had a bunch of garrison ships. Ooh, it's a good demo hit. And Juicy's back with a vengeance. We see where all of Juicy's score was. It was in those garrison ships. And now Hans is in trouble. Hans is urgently queued up more fire galleys. Juicy, what are you doing, man? Now is your moment. Now ships can get hill bonuses, in case you guys were wondering. Ships will deal more damage to units that are downhill and receive less damage from units that are... yeah, they'll deal more damage downhill and they'll receive less damage from units that are downhill. Juicy chasing these fire ships, but this sea tower is in the way. Hans actually has 3 docks. And he's going to be Castle Age soon, so I think Juicy took too much time to go to the center. He's burning the dock. It's going to be a demolition draft. Juicy's smartly spacing the ships out as best he can. Now that Hans is Castle Age, though, Juicy's going to be a little bit nervous. We got a forward villager here from Juicy. What is this? Oh, I did not see this. We have an archery range and a blacksmith. So what's the plan? Maybe Juicy. Let's see it from Juicy's point of view. Does Juicy know about this? He knows that there are gold mines back here. So Juicy's plan is probably to send a ball of archers and just kill a bunch of gold miners, while Hans is worried about water, which I think is a pretty cool idea. I think this is clever from Juicy. He's making some archers now. He's got a forward villager. He's building outposts. Okay. I don't know that Hans has detected this yet. Otherwise, he would have made a knight or something, just to kill this villager and stop the villager from spying on him. Here's a watchtower. I don't like this watchtower. What I would have done is I would have built this watchtower right up against the stable, and then built stone walls around that, so that if my opponent wanted to get to the watchtower, they'd have to delete their stable. But it does range the villagers on the gold a little bit better. Hans can, of course, see this because he's Byzantines and he gets Freetown Watch and Freetown Patrol. But whether or not he does see it depends on his preoccupation with fighting Juicy's navy. Juicy coming over here to stonewall this. So his goal was to goad Hans into over-investing on water. That was Juicy's strategy. I think Juicy might have underinvested initially because Hans was up significantly faster than the Castle Age, and I would have rushed this with the boys if I were Hans, but he withdraws. So this is a great tower. This tower denies 2 of Hans's golds, and there is 1 more over here, but this is a pretty pain in the rear mining camp. But maybe Juicy figures he can deny that with archers. But this tower is going to warn Hans about archers that are coming. Hey, Chris, welcome. Okay, so here's the knight that we were talking about that Hans needed to build about 2 minutes ago. And Juicy's going to try to get away. This alligator helping Hans out. I think the knight is going to miss. Knight's going to come over here, though, and it's going to annoy Juicy. Juicy's stonewalling behind this, which is really smart. This is what you need to do. Juicy probably knows about the knights, and he's making monks, which I think is a good idea. Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. We have got it going on. We have the best tournaments, I'm telling you. We've got creative maps. We know they're good maps. Not to say that they don't have good maps for NAC5, of course, but they might be a little bit wilder. Okay, Juicy coming in with a camel, and he's camping the base of this tower with these archers. That's funny. So, so this camel is going to be helpful against the knights. And he basically, what he needs to do is he needs to protect the archers with the camels, so that the knights can't get to him. Ah, no, he's not going to be able to do it. It's too much micro. Well, it was a good thought. It was a good thought with the camels. What do we got over here? Okay, it's just Juicy's scout. Juicy's scout is just keeping an eye on that. He wants to siege this side now. He's taken Hans off of these golds, and at least temporarily. Hans is making a comeback, though. He's got cavalry working on this. I would actually, I would build the siege workshop here. I'd build the monks. I do the whole 9 yards. I do the monk rush with maybe 3 Byzantine camels mixed in, just so that your opponent can't go scouts and shut it down. Hans wants this stone. There's only 100 stone here. Oh, poor Hans. Juicy adding another town center. I don't know. I think it's too late for that. I think it's too late for that. I think Juicy needed to make 3 monasteries. I know I always think that, though. Okay, Hans is going to clear up that palisade wall. Does not want Juicy spying on his stable. Alright, Juicy has... Oh! Juicy converting Hans's fire galley. Where did that happen? That's funny. Oh, there it is. It wasn't a fire galley, it was a fire ship. We got some camels moving around. This is what Juicy likes to do. He likes Castle Age aggression. Okay, there's a monk here to even the odds. I think this is a good fight. I think Juicy should take this. He gets a conversion. No, Juicy, no, fight, fight. Okay, he realizes what's happening. There is another monk. Juicy retargeting the monk against the camel. But when your economy is this far behind, you just monk rush. Monk rush is the way. Actually, you know, Juicy could probably convert these docks. If he got redemption, he could convert these ships too. That would be pretty funny. What is Hans doing? I think Hans just wants to boom. Seems like he likes to have big economy. From the Gitchigume game. He's got 2 town centers. Juicy has added a 3rd town center. So, I think maybe Juicy... What is Juicy doing? Juicy just wants to catch up in villager count. I don't know that that's going to happen, though. I mean, he's slowly making fire ships. It seems like Juicy is kind of testing the maps out, deciding what he wants to do. I think it's too late to catch up with Navy. Although I guess if you convert the ships, maybe he can catch up. Alright, Hans is headed up to Imp with cheaper Byzantine Imperial Age. But yeah, I think Juicy needs to commit to something. You know, don't make ships if you're not going to win water. Don't make land military if you're not going to win the land. I think he had an opportunity here, especially this tower taking Hans off of 2 golds. I think he had an opportunity to really push Hans and put him in a bad spot. But now Hans is running away with a huge eco relative to Juicy's 67 versus 45, so he's got a 20 villager advantage. What is this? Oh, it's Hans moving a relic back. Hans has taken a relic from the center of the whirlpool, and he will be delivering it to his monastery. And because the transport ship is faster than the monk, it makes sense to just keep him in there. Just has to unload and drop the relic off, and then go back and get another one. Han's going to convert this knight, so Juicy has to delete it. Juicy could use another town center over here. If he's going to boom, he should build a town center like right here or something. And then try to wall it in somehow or defend it somehow. Because right now his opponent can just literally run right in here with a bunch of knights. Juicy seeing the Imperial Age and calls the GG. Just too far behind. He did place the relic in the monastery eventually. So that was Juicy versus Hans 77. This is a round robin set though, so nobody got eliminated from this. Hans scored more points toward admission in a single elimination tournament at the end of the league, and that's basically it. But there are plenty more opportunities to play more games and score some more points. So they both get a prime number's worth of points. I forget exactly how much it is. Obviously, it's less of an advantage if you win 2-1. You get an advantage, but it's not as much as if you win 3-0. But it was a good set. It was very entertaining. It's fun to watch. I think Hans tends to go for the bigger eco approach, and Juicy tried out some different strategies for the maps, but he couldn't. It feels like Juicy didn't really decide exactly what he wanted to do. So once Juicy gets the hang of it, and like decides which strategies he wants to go for on the maps, I think he's gonna get a lot scarier. So you guys keep an eye out for Juicy 45, because don't think that just because Hans got 2-1 against him in this set that that Juicy is the easier player. Because I think as Juicy adapts and figures out what he wants to do for these maps, like we saw a lot of Juicy doing like 3 different things in each game. Once he figures out what he wants to do, like with that second game where he went in knowing exactly what he wanted to do, it'll be pretty scary. So they're definitely both. We want to watch out for them. Hans has got the good eco management, and he's a conservative player, and Juicy is much more aggressive. So it was really fun to watch these two guys duke it out on these maps. So that's going to do it for this set, guys. I do not have time to cast another one, unfortunately. But pay attention in Discord, because we will react with an emoji to indicate which sets have a YouTube video associated with them. So we really appreciate you guys joining us. And hopefully I will see you guys again for the next cast, which will be either later tonight, maybe. But there will definitely be more casting tomorrow. So thank you so much for everybody who tuned in, and I will see you again soon.